Reasonable grounds to believe risk of fire posed an immediate threat to life.
This one says it has roaches and bed bugs and may encourage infestation.
Do you live here?
I don't live here.
You don't live here?
More now on our City News investigation into illegal group homes that are operating with full knowledge of governments, housing some of our most vulnerable, including the mentally ill. We told you yesterday about an OPP report that detailed appalling conditions in some of them. People sleeping on mattresses on the floor, the smell of urine and feces, dead mice. Today we went to the Scarborough house that sparked a Toronto fire blitz in the summer after a resident died there and found it's still operating. We did see a woman who confirmed she was a nurse leaving the home, but she declined to comment. Residents in the neighborhood said emergency services are at the home regularly. And Toronto police confirmed in the past 7 days they have been to this home 5 times. So the question is, why are they still allowed to operate? The government knows they exist. Well, in this OPP report, it concludes they're not laying charges and shutting them down because there's nowhere else for these people to go. They would end up in shelters or on the streets. But I spoke to one advocate earlier today who says the problem lies much deeper than just a lack of affordable housing.
It's a lack of supportive housing and a lack of long-term care beds, because those are where most of those people should be. So it's a lack of health care in our province. So what happens is that the hospital staff come to them and say, you have to leave, and give them a list of places. There's, long-term care homes have multi-year waiting lists. They probably are low income and they can't afford a retirement home. And so they're told these are the places you have to go.
Mr. Speaker, I know the minister is going to want to make a comment. Premier Wynne came under fire in the legislature this week, with the opposition slamming her government for not taking action, despite the dire warnings from police.
Here's the horrifying part, Speaker. The province had the result of this investigation. They knew the vulnerable people in these homes were suffering. They decided to do nothing.
Whether it is increased funding in mental health services, which we are making, whether it is increased funding for long-term care and for home care and community care, Mr. Speaker. We are working on all of those fronts, as it is our obligation to do, and we will continue to do so, Mr. Speaker.
The member from Scarborough.
Now, yesterday we asked Eric Hoskins, the Minister of Health and Long-Term Care, for an interview. Initially, he agreed to do one on this topic, but then his communications person declined. We asked for an interview again today, but told he was not available because he was going out of the country. But here are the questions we would still like to pose to him. One, why has this government allowed the problem of illegal group homes to exist for years? Why, when the problem isn't just about affordable housing, it's also about a gap in the healthcare system? What is the government's long-term plan to fix this? And why hasn't anyone stepped in and found emergency shelter for the people who are at most risk? We will continue to ask for answers to those questions.